252.
Hey, welcome to another episode of 252. Frank G here along with
Johnny Blaze.
Cool out of Kurt.
Ralph D.
Today we're going to be talking about Public Enemy, which I assume we mean the 80s, 90s hip-hop act and not the 1930s Jimmy Cagney movie.
Yeah, she.
Yeah, see, yeah, boy. Yeah, it's a transitional thing.
I can see what he did there.
Yeah. There you go. All right, who wants to kick this one off?
You know what? The first time I ever heard Public Enemy, going on the personal tip, was in... damn, was it in your room? It may have been in your room. I actually saw them in concert in like 87, but I think we met in 86. And I think that was the first time I heard their first album. And I was blown away. It sounded nothing like nothing I'd ever heard. I mean, all their beats and the rhymes and everything Chuck was saying, his voice, Flav was just crazy. And I mean, those beats though were off the chain.
And I will say that my first experience with Public Enemy was actually a negative experience.
What?
Yeah, we were outside, we were playing with our toys and stuff like that.
Circa what year?
Good God, I don't know, maybe this was 86 maybe?
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, 11, 12, somewhere in there. And we're playing, with our toys, and we're trying to, we're doing our imagination games, and we're doing this, and I hear this noise, this high pitch, yeah, and I just hear, it's just repetitive, and I'm like, what is this nonsense? What's that hippity house music? What is going on here? And I didn't know.
It'd be 87 when the second album. That's when it got like, whoa, what is all this annoying crap? Remember, we walked up in the pouring ass rain up to the Kmart and bought Less Than Zero to get what was the one song? Bring the Noise was on there. Or like listening with one headphone apiece, walking home in the rain, going, what is going on with this? It doesn't sound like the first record at all.
Yeah.
It took a minute to get used to that.
But
I think that was their goal. Like, let's make this one stand out.
Yeah, and it did. I do remember JB being a fan.
Big fan. I first saw Public Enemy, didn't see him, heard of AM from Comics Most Wanted. Like and follow and subscribe. Comes to me with a cassette tape of the Old Bum Russia show. It had just come out. And I look at it, I'm like, what the hell are these guys? I never heard of them. And man, these guys are the shit. They're going to be huge. You got to listen to this. And I listened to it. I was blown away, especially by My Uzi Weighs a Ton.
Oh, yeah.
That was such a good song. And that whole album just, wow. It was a great album.
T to B.
My brother, more so than I was incredibly influenced by Public Enemy. Not just the group, but more the clown prince of Public Enemy. Flavor Flav was well displayed in my brother's room.
That's true.
All his posters, the clock, the hat, the glasses. My mom would go, who is this fool? She hated
Crispity, crackly.
crispity, crackly, crunchity. She hated everything about it. And I was like, it took me after you. I think you were probably like the biggest PE fan that I knew. And then you were just like, you had the Walkman and you listened to it all the time.
Always.
So I started listening
First
more.
3 albums.
I actually felt like I was the Johnny come lately to the party, because it wasn't until Do the Right Thing, really. I was like
1989, the number.
And I was
So yeah, there's the chain. It went from me to him to you, and it went from AM to JB to Pat, and that completed the whole circle.
Yeah, it was a full circle. Oh man, I was just blown away. And then I'm like, there's no way they can make a better album than this. Nation of Millions came out,
And
and that whole album was better.
Yeah,
I'm like, whoa!
It's been a long time
this is
since
bad.
from the first song to the last song, any album has just been listenable like that. I think Yo Bum Rush's show, It Takes a Nation of Millions, and you know what? Fear of a Black Planet.
I love that album, Fear of Black
all
Planet.
three of those
I love it.
are listenable from
Now, one thing
first to last.
Even the next one, Apocalypse 91, is like there's no
Yeah,
bad tune on
I
there.
do like that. I do like that one too.
The one thing that I always thought was funny and cool about Public Enemy, and this goes even to where, and I was doing my research, like trying to bone up a little bit before the show, is when you look it up, they're listed as group, band, and you know, it's like they can never really,
Pigeonhole.
not even pigeon, just even designate what Public Enemy was,
Right.
you know, or what they are. Because I mean, they actually are still touring today, but especially back then, were they a rap group, were they a rap band, or was it?
Well, I mean, they did do collaborations with heavy metal or rock.
Oh yeah,
right?
that was Anthrax, right? Was it
Sure.
Anthrax? And
It was.
She watched Channel Zero, and
That had some Slayer in it.
Yeah, there you
what
go.
was he?
She watched
The last couple tours they've had a full band out there playing behind them too. So it's been, or at least some of the tour I saw, they had a band with them
And I just saw
actually playing the PE songs.
Never saw her concerts until recently, about a year ago. I saw it on cable. Excellent, playing their old songs, playing their new hits. That's just
Was it that one where they were in London?
yeah.
Yeah, that was.
And I mean,
really
the
good
crowd
one.
obviously wasn't as
that was
big,
dope.
but
Yeah.
what an excellent show, man! They put on a great show.
And I do like in the beginning, it was from, I think I got this story mostly from interviews and documentaries on it. Like when the record labels, when they first got signed, like they wanted to get rid of Flavor Flav. And Chuck was adamant against it. He was like, nah, because they didn't understand what Flavor Flav was.
Well, I watched a documentary on him a while back, and they were talking about how he had a big drug problem. He was like Jim Morrison, show up late. It's not his timing's off, his lyrics are off because he was.
And he was on crack, telling us not to do crack.
Yeah, well, so that was the main reason they said they wanted to get rid of him for a while. But yeah, he's too important to the South.
And not only that, it was where I was going with is the record industry didn't understand what
a hype man was.
they didn't understand what his role in this band. And Flavor Flav is the most prominent hype man ever. He is the most sampled hype man ever. Yeah. And it instituted. I mean, there is an actual profession now where there's the main lyricist and there's the guy behind him saying the same.
Yeah.
It's a hype man. What does he do? It's making me better, man. Right. Now, do you think that helped with them getting their mainstream success? Because you can't really say Public Enemy ever really sold out. I mean, their music, the way they were, like they were politically conscious.
They sold in. They started out more mainstream and got more to what they wanted to be afterwards. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was amazing. Their level of success is amazing because of not only their stage performance, because the S1Ws. I remember when I was looking at that, I was like, "What is going on?"
That's the security of the first world, baby.
Yeah, and I'm like,
not the DJ from In Living Color.
SW1, kick it. It's Sean Wayans.
One.
But no, I was like, are they backup dancers? Are they security? Like, what are they doing? You got Professor Griff on there. He was like in charge of the S1Ws. You got Flavor Flav doing his thing. You got Terminator X as the DJ. He always was scary looking with them big ass glasses on. I don't know what his face looks like. Terminator, smack me in the face. I want to know who he was.
Now, see, yeah, the look there and the whole like Black Panther thing that was going on and the militant thing. Now, this is the reason why I could have Run DMC posters, but I could not have Public Enemy posters.
Right. Yeah. Not in that household. That is very true.
They're like, you know, there's a limit. Like, we're okay with this, but these guys look militant. We're not having that. You know. So the Public Enemy was more scary to white parents than was Run DMC.
But you gotta open your mind. You gotta listen to what he's saying.
But that was the whole, I mean, they even talk about that on some of the records. You know, the idea was they were bringing across these things to the white kids that they had never heard before. You know, both what they're talking about and the sound that they're making. So it was like this whole, you know, infiltrating the suburbs thing that they did quietly, and we helped, you know.
I mean, they would sample a snippet of a speech from a black leader or some...
Yeah, dude, everything I know about Malcolm X and Farrakhan comes from Public Enemy records.
I'm telling you. And one of my favorite samples was the No More Music by the Suckers on Cold Lambo with Flavor. That was an actual thing that happened because that DJ that played hip hop at night, he said that about a tape that I guess Flavor had sent in because that's how you got on the radio back in the day. You sent in a tape to a radio station and they would play you or not. So they played them, and then he was like, "No more music from the Suckers," and then they sampled that and put it on a record on an album because he called them suckers. And then of course in the album, Flav actually acknowledged that. Suckers, man, what did he mean by suckers? And he was like, he's talking about us. We ain't suckers.
That is so crazy.
And then they actually got cool over the DJ. He passed away since, but they got actually cool about it.
It's funny you say that. While you were talking, I had this memory, and when it comes to art, I would have to say me and Ralphie were pretty good like artists. You know, one might say, depending on, you know, if you're looking at total anatomy of a character, maybe I might be a little better than Ralphie creatively or something like that. Whatever, you know, who knows? But when it came to the lettering, I remember Ralphie was far and above better at lettering than I was, and he used to write this one line, and it was all lettered all the way across out. He would write, "Rock that funky shit, homie."
Oh yeah.
In lettering.
Rock that shit, homie.
Yeah, rock that shit. And he wrote it all the way out. And I remember thinking that was so fucking dope. The way he did it. I could see that tagged on like the side of a bus or a train or something like that.
Yeah, I just put it on like my school books,
yeah.
and notebooks and stuff. Yeah, and that was a lyric from Flav.
Yeah, that's what. And I remember I couldn't do that. And I remember my brother doing it, and usually he always looked up to us when it came to art.
Yeah.
But that was one thing that he did pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, can everybody tag but me?
Oh, and believe me, I wasn't great at tagging, or I didn't tag, but I mean, I was just okay with doing lettering.
Yeah.
But oh man, there was.
You know, Ralphie was the guy who, you know how like in the bathrooms when they didn't want you to tag the walls, they put like a chalkboard in there.
Yeah.
Ralphie would grab the chalk and write on the chalkboard.
Yeah.
And do it.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, and I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, they put this here so we write on it so we don't write on the walls. And I was like,
and I'm putting the bat symbol up. Oh man, good stuff, man. But I tell you what, Frank, I have to ask. The first time you bought Yo Bum Rush the Show, and I remember you kept everything, even back then. You had the CD. This was like one of the first times I'd ever even seen a CD. You had the tall 12-inch long box.
yeah.
What made you get that?
I got the tape first during the summer, and it was one of those, oh look, a new Def Jam tape.
And you knew Def Jam put out some good shit.
Oh, at that time, everything they had, it was LL Cool J and the Beastie Boys was pretty much it.
Yeah.
You know, and as far as at that point in time, 86.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, who's this next act that they're bringing forward? Plus, I think I had heard they were opening for the Beastie Boys. You know, so it's like how, you know, I'm familiar with who are these guys, and those guys look kind of scary, you know. And then the record was out on Def Jam, so okay, you know, that was, I think, the motivating factor.
I tell you what, not right when Public Enemy launched, a few years before that, I didn't listen to any rap at all. It was all heavy metal. And
it was hard to get. That's the other thing.
Well, it wasn't hard
find
to
rap
read.
tapes.
Just go down the warehouse, but I refused to listen to it. And
but there were only so many.
Yeah. There was an uncle of mine who talked to me, said, man, you gotta like what you like. You're missing out on all this great music. He said, like whatever you like. Don't like what you think you're supposed to. He said, try LL Cool J and Run DMC. And I first started listening to it. This is after they've been out a while. And finally, opened my mind. And around that time, I met Aaron. This was junior high. And then we became friends. And next thing I know, we're watching MTV Raps at his house.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens because I remember clearly, I've said this before, my music was, I used to lean towards more R&B and pop stuff than I was into rap. I got into rap much later. I mean, I liked it, but I really wasn't
the Puffy era.
No, I'm just saying, that's, right, that's why, my musical taste is trash. But I like, you like what you like.
Yeah,
you like what you like.
Yeah.
And that's why people think it's funny that I destroy lyrics when I'm singing songs and stuff like that. Because it's I like the tone and the melody. I don't know what they're saying. Trying to make them own words. But with that being said, when it comes to rap, there's a lot of guys in rap that have very distinctive flows and style and voices. And I don't think anybody has been able to touch Chuck D when it comes to his cadence and the way he delivers his lines. Because, there's always imitators. There's always people who try to be somebody else. But I'm trying right now to think about it. Has there anybody that's hey, I'm the new Chuck D?
No, because the old Chuck D is still going strong, for one. And also, when Pac died, there were so many people that were coming out trying to be the new Pac, but maybe the Ja Rules or your DMXs with those voices or the gravelly tone or what have you at points in time. I don't think anyone's ever, like you said, been able to.
I don't think anybody's been able to. And not only that, but I'm trying to think of, has there ever been another group that was kind of that put on a show or a performance like Public Enemy did? There's not another Flavor Flav.
Well, I think
I
think Public Enemy changed the whole venue because I used to hear descriptions, Run DMC concerts, they're just walking back and forth on the stage, rapping, and there was just no real show to it. And same with, LL Cool J. I never saw any of his.
Well, he did come out of a giant radio on stage.
He did, but
grind on girls. He would bring them up on stage and grind on them.
But I think that Public Enemy definitely was one of the early bands, if not the first rap.
Beastie Boys had the 40-foot dick that came out.
Yeah, true. And they had women in cages as well, as they should be.
When you get to it, the Public Enemy was what broke made it possible for NWA to get up there with people with machine guns on the side of the stage and cages and fencing and stuff in '89.
Oh yeah, I think that sounds absolutely plausible to me because I saw them in concert with Houdini. Let's see, it was Public Enemy, Houdini, and oh my God, who else? Dougie Fresh, I think. This was a crazy
The Fresh
concert.
Fest.
Yeah, Fresh Fest '85, I think. And I had no idea who Public Enemy was until a couple years later when I met Frank, and I was just like, I don't know who these people are.
That's the one thing. My parents let me listen to whatever I wanted. They would spring for the tape. They weren't springing for a concert. They didn't care who it was. All you get is $10, so go down and buy the tape.
Yeah, I was in Chicago on a vacation, on a summer vacay with my older brother, so he definitely sprung for those tickets. That was fun. I was riveted. I was in my seat for hours. I may have stood up and jumped around and all that stuff, but all I remember is just being riveted by everything going on.
I would say I wish that I was able to go see them in concert, especially at the height of their popularity. Going back to what I was saying about Do the Right Thing, man. When I heard that song, I mean, when it's 1989, the number.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, you talk about like it just defined a time. There's certain songs that bring you back to a very specific time in your life.
Oh yeah.
And I'd have to say that there are just those like we're gonna go bass. How low can you go? I mean, I remember us being in the Who ride, going and we jamming, we singing all the going in, and it takes me back to that time. In the car, going up and down the cruise, or going to the mall, or doing whatever we were doing, and it really reminds me of a certain time where listening to that music. And you did act. It was influential. You did act a certain way. I mean, sometimes like Public Enemy never made me want to go Who ride. You know what I'm saying? I never wanted to lose my shit when I was listening to Public Enemy. Public Enemy made me think about like real life choices.
They made a lot of people think. And you take what I think are the two most influential rap songs as far as influencing government and everybody. People, government, 911 is a joke, and fuck the police.
Yeah,
those two just rocked the entire country.
I remember when I was listening to, by the time I get to Arizona, I didn't know like if you was to tell me there's like a state like don't go, like just don't go.
Yeah, well they know. They didn't observe. They didn't observe MLK Day.
Yeah, they were so racist that they didn't even want this day off, a free day off of work, and they will pay you. They said, "No, thank you."
I gotta applaud that level of racism.
That level of racism is like, are you kidding?
You are taking the cake with your racism.
If there was a KKK day and I got paid $250 to stay at home, I'm taking the $250.
Having a beer, saying a big F you to the Grand Wizard.
David Duke, I fucked him out. I don't know. Please edit that out.
Listen,
that was.
I'll tell you what. Mike Tyson coming out to all his fights to welcome to the Terror Dome. What?
I was like, wow, is this news? This is shocking. Mike Tyson just came out. That is shocking.
Okay. Mike Tyson entering the ring to the song "Welcome to the Terror Dome" by Public Enemy.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was menacing. That would put people, it was scary.
Yeah.
Do the Right Thing. That was Radio Raheem's theme song, man. It was,
Fight the Power.
Fight the Power.
Fight the Power.
That was his theme song. And he played, that's what he was playing. I don't know. That song almost became his character, But that's a great album. That was, I heard that first, ran right out, bought the single from Do the Right Thing soundtrack, and then they released Fear of a Black Planet, and it was on there, and I was so happy.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great song.
Yeah. They do an annoying thing there, though, that they continue doing throughout the next few records, where, like, Fight the Power on Do the Right Thing and the 12-inch is not censored. Fight the Power on the album is censored. Why is that there? Like, how'd I get that? No, it's not the edited version. There's F words throughout this record, but not here.
Yeah, that song.
They did that on the next couple records. There were songs like that too, where the single version added the song and the CD on the album had it edited. Like, what's going on?
I wonder, do you think that had something to do with it being in the movie and having ties to? Well, no.
What it had to do with is
the movie was
the first release came out and said what they wanted to say, and somebody said you can't say that, so the second release had it edited out. You can't say fucking motherfuck him and John Wayne because that's offensive to Elvis and John Wayne or whatever, So now we got to put a beep in there.
Yeah.
The Elvis's estate and John Wayne's estate threatened to sue or whatever. So it's all that kind of crap. So, you gotta hunt sometimes to find the real versions.
Even with the edit in there, I can still hear it clearly. It's like, motherfucker. I was like, it's a little delay. It's a slight delay. I mean, it beeps them out, but it's like We can clearly hear him.
They beep in between the C and the K.
Beak.
That's funny. But you know what's also
It's
cool?
a short beat too.
Frank and I would do this. I'm sure you did too. You would open up your tape or buy your tape, open it up, and read all the thank yous. Always, it was like the first thank you, or maybe the first 3 thank yous had a Public Enemy in there. It was always thank you Run DMC, thank you LL Cool J, thank you Public Enemy, thank you KRS-One or whatever. On those artists that would put all the thank yous in that 80s and early 90s niche. I just remember seeing that. You know, love that shit because everybody giving their respect to Chuck D because of the things that he said, the way he actually portrayed himself. You know what I mean? And,
what was the song? I'm sorry, I'm having a moment. Was it Burn? Hollywood Burn?
Burn, Hollywood Burn.
That was a song that me, Pup, and Dono would blast when we was driving around in Pup's 68.
That's the one that made you want to ooh, right? But that was an Ice Cube song that Chuck D was on.
Yeah, I know. But
that was on a PE
What's that?
It was on a PE album. It just had Ice Cube
No,
and
it
Big
was a
Daddy
PE
Kane.
song that had...
I got Black C's at the crib.
Burn, Hollywood Burn.
That's right. That was a PE song. My bad.
Yeah, I'll check out a movie. But
What was the Ice Cube? Ice Cube one was Endangered Species. It was Ice Cube with Public Enemy.
That's the one. That was on... was that on the Lynch Mob or was that on Ice Cube?
So America's Most Wanted.
America's Most, yeah.
He also did the one with I'm Only Out for One Thing that had Flavor Flav talking about Baby came out said Run DMC.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to go back to what because JB mentioned 911 is a joke. Flav actually did have a couple of songs that were just him.
Yeah.
You know, because even though he was the hype man, like we had said before, Flav, he could rap. He was rapping.
Yeah.
And there was a scene, like, let's not forget, Flavor Flav was in the opening scene of
Tougher Than Leather.
No, not Tougher Than Leather. I was thinking
He was though.
Nice pull.
Yeah. That was the best bit.
What was it? Oh, it was New Jack City.
Yeah, he was at the club.
At the club, yeah.
Yeah.
When Nino Brown came in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go watch that 911 is a joke video and check out who's playing Flavor Flav's dad.
Oh.
Is it Samuel L. Jackson?
It is indeed Samuel L. Jackson.
I am not surprised. You know why? Because Sam's in everything.
That's the place he was.
You know, what's that joke? I call my dick Samuel L. Jackson. Why? Because it's in everything.
If you hear yelling in a movie, excessive yelling, Samuel L. Jackson is somewhere.
Haven't you seen my movies? This is the way I talk. And I hope they burn in hell.
Yeah, more on the Flavor Flav thing. Has a excellent song on the House Party soundtrack.
Yeah. I'm lamping, I'm cold. No, wait, no, that wasn't it. It was.
That's not it, but
that was from
Cold Lamp on Flavor.
Yeah, Nation of Millions. That was on.
911 is a joke. What's the song?
Can't do nothing for you, man. Was that in House Party?
Yeah, I can't do nothing for you, man. I can't do nothing for you, man. You want $6 for what? I keep forgetting. I meant to talking about my brother loving Flavor Flav. The day, my brother was 9, maybe 13. I think my brother was 13 years old. 13 years old. And he saw Flavor Flav in person. He wasn't at a concert. He wasn't anywhere. Of all places, he saw it in the lobby of my grandparents' building in New York. Come to find out, Flavor Flav lived in the building. So at this point, we were like, because he was so excited. He called me up because he was actually in New York. I was in Cali. He called me up and was so excited because he was like, Kurt. He's like, dude, Flavor Flav is in the building. And I'm like, what? He goes, Flav, man, I seen he's looking crazy. And I was like, did you say anything to him? He's like, man, I just looked at him. And I was like, there he goes. And he came in and he said, what's it? And he said something flavor-like.
Some flavor-ish.
Yeah, flavor-ish. But it was so crazy, too, because this was, I want to say 95? I want to say 95?
Yeah, that sounds right, because I do remember that story.
Yeah, because that's when my brother got stabbed, and he got stabbed
in school.
In school, because he had liked this girl, and she had said something, and he had said something about, I don't know, there was some East Coast, West Coast beef. And my brother got stabbed with a pencil in the shoulder. And he was like, he's like, this place is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going back to Cali.
Cali.
252.
Adonis, pull yourself together.